Looks like I'm just barely fitting the frame. What's going on here? Well, howdy folks. Greetings programs. It's Hanker and Fernell here on Drunkards and Dragons with another episode how to play D&D real good. A little bit more better than you used to anyways. Due to much requests and consternation on the part of the audience, we finally have an episode of the little series we like to call Room Design. This is where we just get right down to the nitty gritty. We don't talk about theory, we just talk about one tiny little idea for an encounter or a set of spaces or monsters that are going to make your game more cool. Masculine and human, everyone can enjoy this. Not get hasty. Before we get into any D&D, you got to have something to drink. Now, everyone's always asking me like, what's cool things to drink while you're playing D&D? Well, beer, whiskey, Jaeger, but this is a good one if you're feeling a little sassy. You want to get medieval, make sure you get your Mjolnir bottle opener there. Get the most boring beer you can find, so you want a flavorless beer. So even like Coors or Bud, they're going to be too banana-y. This is about the most boring beer I know of. Rolling Rock is almost as boring as this beer. So just do a half of your boring beer. And you know, this beer being boring, in medieval times this would have been like the nectar of the gods. Then get yourself some nice red wine, preferably a nice Spanish Shiraz or whatever wines are, and then just go right in there. Oh, buddy. Now it's going to get strong real quick, so you don't want a ton of wine. Top it off. Now you're going to get this nice pink foamy piment wonder drink. So hey, here's to you guys. Give it a try. I think you're going to, well, I think it's awesome. I mean, it makes you want to joust, basically. Oh, it's so good. Okay, room design. Here we go. This is the gem lock, as I like to call it. Not one word like, hey man, let's go down to the gem lock, but the gem lock. We have doors locked with giant gems. What's the purpose of the room? Okay, first of all, you want to use a room like this if you want to zigzag your players. Zigzagging, also known as backtracking. Basically, you know, do the classic Zelda behavior where you go right up and you know you have to go that way, but in order to go that way, you gotta go that way real quick, and then come back and you'll be able to unlock it and go that way. Remember how Zelda always did that? They'd show you this stinking door, you can't go through it, you gotta go way over here, get the thing, and then you can go through it. But you get that sense of goal right away, you keep it in your head, and then it gives purpose to the next section of gameplay. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to do a classic zigzag puzzle. Visibility, these 3 mouse guard dice are going to be my players, okay? So the players arrive into this room. You can imagine that they use this little door right here, okay, just to keep things simple. So the players arrive in this room, enter a ceremonial chamber. The floor is etched with forbidden runes and non-Euclidean shapes from the time before men walked the earth. Once there was a strange glow here, but now only the moss and a couple rays of sunlight through cracks in the ceiling illuminate this grim scene. Strange architectural features can be seen in the corners of the room, and 3 rotting, strangely reptilian corpses are arrayed around the circle on the floor. At the far ends of the room, 2 great stone doors adorned with green jewels stand in your way. What will you do? So the players move in, they're kind of like, what's going on? What's this stuff? Okay, they start wandering around. One person is inspecting the door and he says, oh, there's some kind of strange green jewels on here. Another one comes over here and starts looking at one of these reptilian corpses. Now these are classic don't stamp on the lawn type traps. These are do not touch type traps. So anytime you have a thing that says do not touch on it, the first thing people will do is walk up and touch it. So what I do is I'll just have these corpses, and if they're touched, like inspecting or searching, then that will cause them to come back up. So they'll reanimate in these half-alive, serpentine, reptilian abominations from some horrible ritual in the past. A fight breaks out, you go into combat time, but as always, I believe in solving puzzles in combat time. If you're out of combat time, there's just no urgency and nothing's cool. So he comes up, they start fighting, oh my god, what's going on? And you come over here and it's like, whoa, this guy is actually freakishly powerful and difficult to kill. This isn't cool. So they start fighting. This third player is the smart one, who goes like, I don't think we're just going to survive if we, like, I think the other two guys might come alive. Like, we better look around. So he starts searching and he finds this gem. This gem is huge. It's on a concrete base. I don't know if you can see this here. Yeah, this little guy. And by a small player, like a gnome or a halfling, unmovable. It's too big, it's too heavy. So he's going to need help. So during the combat, maybe another reptilian summoner arises and begins fighting and, help me, help me. So they drag the gem over and they notice it's the same type of green jewel as is adorning these stone walls. So they drag it over here. Nothing happens. Weird. Okay, well, oh wait, look. And then upon closer inspection, realize the green jewels and designs on this door are different than that are on the jewel they found. So then they move the jewel over here and notice suddenly a little socket in the floor, fit the jewel into the socket, and sure enough, this right here is where you are wanting your players to go. So notice, the first jewel door that functions is not the direction they want to go, and that's where you're going to get your zigzag. You want them to go elsewhere first. So then they're like, okay, that opened the door, but well, we only have one gem. How are we going to get through the other door? Meanwhile, the other reptile comes up, the combat's getting worse and worse, the intensity is rising, and the players, either by fleeing or defeating the monsters, come through this door into the second room. For the sake of argument, let's say they defeat these monsters, or confuse them or evade them in some way, and get through the door. Now you're in your second room. This is your diversion room. This is a dead end. They go in, they start poking around. They're like, well, what are we supposed to do in here? There's that other door that we didn't go through. Well, okay, stealth out, rogue. He goes in, notices back here in a pile of junk, there is another green gem on a concrete base with the appropriate set of designs. And they notice upon inspection, there are also drag marks all across the floor where this gem has been dragged in here by some elder force, probably to keep people from entering the stone door. So as they go over there, hey man, I need some help moving this thing, it's really heavy. We have our cast of characters here. We have a hydra and a gigantic snake. So good old Pathfinder Pawns giving me a nice thematically consistent serpent theme. So apparently these things, these reptile men were worshipping these giant serpents. This hydra has some kind of giant snake as sort of a vizier or a servant. And as the players are rooting through the rubble and the bushes and the vines that have overgrown this ruined room to get this jewel, they start moving it. That agitates the monsters. And bang, we have another great combat situation. Now, why did I set this up the way I set it up? There's a lot of things that players can use here to win the battle. You got two big planks, you have a big wooden table, and most importantly, this giant stone column. The stone column can be used to create evasion and chase and bide time. We've got bushes that you can hide in. You've got a banner here which could serve as some kind of a hiding place, maybe catch fire, maybe serve as a giant spear, something to confuse, pin, or otherwise flummox your serpentine enemies. So play out your combat. No big deal, right? If they try to flee back through this door, these things give chase. Maybe this one's too big and you get a classic like heads through the doorway, but the giant snake can definitely make it through. So anyways, that combat plays out as it will. The characters through series of strength checks, and this is what makes the combat so fun. The whole time they're making these strength checks to move this giant jewel on concrete or on stone. Concrete. What am I saying? Okay, like 2 blocks at a time. So it's like this, and it's like, come on, we're getting beaten. God, So you have this real slow, like we gotta drag this thing, fight the snake. So finally they get the stone over here. The secondary door opens, which is the one they wanted all along. They go through, and this is the door to the rest of the dungeon. That's it. Super, super simple, but that would probably be an hour or even 2 hours, depending on your group, of gameplay. With tons of peril, lot of enemies to fight, enough of a puzzle to feel like, yay, we did it, but not the kind of puzzle that it feels arbitrary or where there's no pressure on time to solve it. Always have people solve puzzles while they're fighting. It's the only way. Otherwise, it's just like time passes as you ponder the puzzle. Not fun. Okay, so that is the room design, the gem lock. So on the one hand, I wanted to show you the 3D version of the gem lock. So let's kind of take this aside a little bit. This asked me on the channel if I could show you a little more about the 2D experimentation that I've been doing. And so I wanted to show you the same room design, but executed with 2D parts and pieces. Bunch of 3x5 cards where just on my lunch break or just whenever I'm feeling it, I've been doodling out little parts and pieces that could make adventures. So let's see, what do we need? We need a door, I got some ogres here, got a spike trap, skeletons, gas cloud. I think we have, here's one of the magic rocks here. Door. Okay, cool. Here we go. So we're starting to come together. There we go. Here we go. Door. There we go. So these are my jeweled doors right here. Right? So 2 matching jeweled doors. Now, the players need to come into the forbidden circle here. Again, we'll use the mouse guard dice, so they're on the forbidden circle. And then you would just take your serpent guys, your reptilian undead. They're scattered around the circle. Here's where the players entered. Maybe they're still at the entrance. They come in, and as they search the room, they find these 2. They search the room, and then you reveal that by putting the card on the table, right? Really simple stuff. They move this through effort while fighting over here. Doesn't work. They move it over here. It works. Reveals the secondary room. And in the far end of the secondary room, you have your gem. And then you have your guys up here. Maybe for bushes to hide behind, you've got this card just laying around, so you put it over there. This is your new combat space. Players are here. Players struggle around, they do whatever, get the gem, haul the gem over, put it here, go through this door, out here, and then sort of the subsequent corridor card is right there. So right there you would see the sort of 2D version of the exact same gameplay, which, remember, the key to the gameplay isn't a ton of combat, isn't a ton of real estate, it's simply performing a zigzag. A zigzag being, go in this room, go back this way. So try to go this way, go in the room, go back. You know, maybe even have an NPC who says, I know we need to go this way. So they get the gem and they try the door and it doesn't work. And then he's like, well, then we're forced to try this direction and see what happens. This side shoot could be as far as you want. This could be a whole nother dungeon here. At the end of an entire dungeon, you finally get the gem. They have to drag the damn thing all the way back to this door, and then they unlock maybe the final corridor to the boss. Is the very Zelda way of playing a zigzag rhythm. It works great. It's really simple, especially if you're playing something like Dungeon World, where space isn't measured in clicks and distance isn't measured in feet and stuff. It's all much more loose and narrative. And these fun little drawings give you plenty of narrative to play with. I'll get a close-up here. So there's the close-up of this little design. Bushes, the exit. Here's where the zigzag happens over toward the serpents. Here's where the entrance is. Yeah, so you can see all that on the close-up. Again, the mouse guard dice are the players, so they can just be right there. And then as they move through, they're right here. And then one of them's hiding in the bushes. These 2 run back to the circle room. He's alone. They attack him. He catches up. They move the gem into place, and so on and so forth. So you can see the gameplay is really the same. Now, are the players playing on the 3D terrain hella psyched because it's all 3D and awesome? Definitely. But if you want to change up how your groups play, or you want to be more improvisational, or, you know, suddenly you spawn a flame skull and you got a flame skull right there. Or if you want to build your structures more loosely, like adding doors to places on the fly because you feel the group needs to move this way or something, this system is fantastic. With 3D, you're much more bound in what you create and what you build. It's really cool, really immersive, but it can be binding as far as GM creativity and going with the flow. Whereas this stuff, man, you can draw one of these on the fly in 60 seconds and just slam it down on the table. I mean, anybody can draw a rectangular door if you need a door in a pinch, or a set of stairs, or a weird circle for the floor, or a little skull, or a dead body. You know, especially with a smaller piece of index card like this, you can do a little dead body, or you can do a bookcase. I think I have a bookcase in here somewhere. Oh, I got the bad guy monster from first edition there. Yeah, here you go. So you just whip up a quick bookcase like this. So we'll cut to a close-up here and show a bunch more of the cards that I'm working with. I'm not going to show everything because, you know, always got to have a few surprises in store. But that's the basic concept, the gem lock. They have to go one way. There's 2 keys. You only give them 1 key. They have to go on a journey to get the second key all the way back, and then they get to proceed. So that's really simple room design that is going to give you zigzagging. And zigzagging is a fantastic way to set a goal at the beginning. Another great way to do it is to put some kind of, you know, dragon sigil on this door, so they know that that's like the door. That's where we gotta go. You know, you can use an NPC for that. You can use environmental clues. You can use magic aura if you have detect magic going on. Something to be like, oh yeah, man, the cool shit's in here, but you can't go in here yet. You gotta go way over there first, get the doodad, come on back, and then you can go. So that's the room design, really simple. So I'm just gonna have a little bit of more of this. Everybody wants to poop in their own bathroom, and everybody wants to play D&D in their own kitchen. Okay guys, I'm out. Strength, honor, and room design. Keep it real. Get this zigzag concept in your game. Let me know how it goes. I'm out. Peace. Oh.